Hello, so in this session we'll be going through the calendar part of clock and calendar. We are already done with the clock part. So we'll just go through the calendar part. So see, clock, calendar, all of these things are concepts that you are very familiar with, right? So we'll just go through the basic definition and then some concepts that you will need. Okay. So basically, what is a calendar? Why do you need a calendar? Do you people have calendars in your homes? So when we used to be younger, we used to, I think it was a very common thing for these organizations, organizations whose events you would attend, they would give calendars. And even like my dad, he used to work in a company, the company would give calendars. So it was a very common thing. Like calendar was something that people, even like newspaper agencies, all of them would, distribute calendars. It was a very considered something very essential in houses. And even like in our house, if you come to my house, you'll see there's this wall where we have like calendars hung. One calendar will be hung, so we'll be having like 2 calendars in every house, hung at different places, 2 or 3 calendars. I think actually between 3 or 4 calendars hung at different places. But now for our generation and for like your generation also, people are not really valuing calendars that much. Calendars, in the sense physical calendars, because you have calendars in your phones, right? And so everything is, people just use their devices for everything. They don't really look at physical entities or like things anymore. So I'm not sure how many of you have actually seen a calendar. I think you will have, but yeah, anyway. So calendar is basically a systematic arrangement of days in a defined pattern. So basically you arrange days into months, right? So if you look at the Gregorian calendar, which is, the English calendar that we follow for months, January, February, and all of those months, basically you have days, you have, January, February, March, you have different months that are defined, and then these months have weeks, these weeks have days, and then there are certain things. All of this is defined. It's not just a random set of months or days, right? It's all based on some specific pattern that is being followed. So that is basically what a calendar is. Now we will go through some basics related to a calendar. Okay, a day, how many hours does a day have? 24 hours. Day is the smallest unit of a calendar. Okay, a week is a group of 7 days. So what do we mean by a week? A group of 7 days. So you take 7 days and then you name them as Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, right? Now there are 12 months in a year. What are the months? January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. All of you would know to count this way. I'll just give you an exercise, not now, do it after class. Try counting the months of a year backwards, like from December. All of us can count it from January to December quick. Try counting it from December to January. So December, November, October, like that. Try counting it up to January and see how easy or how difficult it is. If you have not done this before and in the first time you get it very easily, then it shows you're really good at, there's a certain part of your brain that's associated with this. I'm not sure which, but yeah, it shows that that part of your brain is working very well. It's, working very well in the sense that you're really good at this, because for the average person it would be a bit difficult, because they will be accustomed to counting from January to December. So the reverse thinking of, for the brain, once it sets in order for things, thinking of it in the reverse order is usually difficult. Which is why, again, speaking of this, I'm deviating a bit from the chapter, but all of these are important things that you need to know. So there's another thing. Yeah, it's something that, doctors, neurologists suggest. If you brush all of us usually brush our teeth in the right hand, right? They suggest us to brush our teeth with our left hand every day or a couple of days. I think it's that, every alternate day, just try brushing your teeth with your left hand. The point is that, since your brain is used to a particular order, just taking the brushing using your right hand, if you shift the order, it helps your brain. So like just break in order, but in some other order. So reversing things or like changing the order, it's good for your brain development. So yeah, let's get back to the chapter. Basically, right, so there are 12 months in a year. Now there are months that have 31 days, that is January, March, May, July, August, October, December, have 31 days. April, June, September and November have 30 days each. Now this is a very common trick that we were told to remember which all months have 31 days, which all months have 30 days. It's actually, I mean, pretty easy. If you see, it's just alternate months, right? January, March, May, July, except August. It's all alternate months except July, August, and then baki sab is also alternate: August, October, December. But when we were young, this was something that my mother told me. Basically, you see your knuckles start from any end. Let the first be Jan. So if this is January, so like the January one and then February will be the space between your knuckles. Okay, I don't know if you guys can understand this, but yeah. So January is your knuckle, February is the space between your knuckles. So what this basically means is that the one that's at the knuckle will have 31 days. The one that's at the space will have 30 days. So Jan, Feb, March 31, April 30, May 31, June 30. So this one's the space, right? So 30 days. July 31. So now you have reached an end. Now you need to go back. So to go back, you start again from here. So July 31, August 31. So because you start from, so it's Jan, Feb, March, April, May, June, July, and then you need to go back, right? So August again. So August will again have 31 days. September 30 days. October 31 days. November 30 days, December 31 days. So that's how. So if people used to ask me, you know, when I used to be young and people would ask me, okay, how many days does November have? I would sit and count. I'd be like, okay, Jan, Feb, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, 30 days. So that's the kind of counting that we used to do. I don't know how you find this, but yeah, this was something that I really liked when I was younger. So yeah, anyway. February has 29 days in a leap year and 28 days on all other years. So February is the, you know, like the black sheep or something like that, or you can also call it the black sheep, but some might even call it the special one. But yeah, anyway, February has 29 days in a leap year and 28 days on all other years. Do you have friends whose birthday is on 29th February? So I had a friend, her birthday used to be on 29th February. And so she would say, when she would say her age, she would say it in terms of the, instead of saying it, I mean, we all celebrate our birthday on the day it falls, right? So I say I'm 20 years old. If my birthday is on August 5th, I will say I'm 20 years old when it becomes August 5th, right? But for her, since it did not become 29th February, she used to say it in terms of the number of leap years she has had. So like if she has lived for 20 years, but if she has had only 4 leap years, not 4 years, she would have had about 5 leap years. If she has had only 5 leap years, if you ask her her age, she would say I'm 5 years old because she has only had 5 birthdays because her birthday falls on 29th February. But yeah, she also used to celebrate her birthday on 28th February on years other than a leap year. But yeah, this is something she used to do because ideally that's not wrong because I mean she would not get her birthday, right? So yeah, anyway, it just reminded me of that. Okay, so 28 days, February has 28 days on all other days other than a leap year. Okay, now a period of 100 days is called a century. Sorry, not 100 days, 100 years. Okay, when you have a period of 100 years, it is called a century. An ordinary year refers to a year which has 365 days. So basically, what is an ordinary year? What's so ordinary? Years other than leap years are usually mentioned as ordinary years. Okay, ordinary years refer to a year which has 365 days. A leap year is a year which has 366 days. Such years are divisible by 4. Okay, leap years have 366 days and leap years are divisible by 4. What do we mean? So see, when is the next leap year? Did you know that next year will be a leap year? So 2024 is a leap year. This is divisible by 4, right? So 4 5s are 20, 4 6 are 24, 506, 506, right? Yeah. So it's every 4 years. You get a leap year every 4 years, right? So when was our leap year before this 2020? When was it before this 2016? So it's basically you have leap years happen every 4 years, and all of these years are divisible by 4. So an easy way to check whether a particular year is a leap year or not is just to divide it by 4 and see. So if it works, it is a leap year. If it does not, it's an ordinary year. So something that is not a leap year is generally called an ordinary year. Okay, moving on. Now we will go through some, excuse me, yeah. So now we'll go through some points that need to be noted in clock and calendar. Okay, so okay, in 2 consecutive ordinary years, a date in the next year will be 1 day ahead of the same date of the previous year. Okay, so if you have 2 ordinary years, you want to find the, like, basically if you're given that, say, we'll just take a look at this example. You are given that 2nd April 2013 is a Monday. Okay, now somebody asks you what will be this is a mistake, this is 2 here. Okay, so somebody asks you, it's basically 2nd April 2018, but you can also find 3rd April 2014, it's not a problem, but I'll just start with 2nd April. So 2nd April 2014 will be a Tuesday. Okay, and so 3rd April 2014, so what will 3rd April 2014 be? It will be a Wednesday. Okay, so now of what use is this? Basically, the beauty of this is you can figure out, if you are given what day a date falls in a year, you can figure out what it will fall in for any number of years after that. So this is for the next year. For the next year, it will be day after. So what about the year after that? What about 2nd April 2015? 2nd April 2015 would be a Wednesday, right? Because as per this formula, a date in the next year will be 1 day ahead of the same date of the previous year. So here, if it fell on a Tuesday, 2015 will fall on a Wednesday, right? And so this works. So this is a very beautiful concept. So basically, if you know which day a date falls in one particular ordinary year, you can say which day this date will fall in the next ordinary year. I mean, the next as in the immediately next, the consecutive ordinary year. Okay, so I used to have a friend, not exactly a friend, but there was a kid in my school who you could give that kid any date of like any date. I mean, to 2nd June 1996 or whatever, and that kid would tell you which day it happened, like the day that date fell on, the kid would say that. So and so he was called on to stage to and like he had our principal ask him, just throw certain dates at him, and he would say the day, and people were like very surprised and like very shocked. But the thing is, there's actually there's a formula that you can learn. So if you can Google it up if you want to. Basically, there's a formula, it'll help you. I mean, it's a bit complicated, but you can like find out. It's not, I mean, you don't have to count all the way back or anything. There's a formula that helps with this. So yeah, anyway, so because of that skill, he used to be the star of our batch and things of that sort. Okay, anyway, moving on. In an ordinary year, the first and last days of a year will be the same. Okay, now if you're talking about an ordinary year, the first and last days of a year will be the same. So basically, if 1st January 2023 fell on a Monday, okay, you can say that 31st December, if 1st January 2023 fell on a Monday, you can say that 31st December 2023 will also fall on a Monday. Okay, but this happens for ordinary years. Okay, so in an ordinary year, the only thing you need to, if you know what day the first date of the year is, you can figure out this last date of the year. Okay, so if you know what day, let's say 1st Jan 2024 falls on a Thursday, then you can guess, not just guess, you can say that 31st December, 2024 is a leap year. Let's take an ordinary year. If 1st January 2025 falls on a Thursday, you can say that 31st December 2025 will also fall on a Thursday. Okay, this works. Now, the first day of a century cannot be Wednesday, Friday and Sunday. So when you talk about a century meaning after every 100 years, right? So now the nearest century that we, not the nearest, the next century that we have will be 2100. Okay. So for every century, the first day cannot be Wednesday, Friday and Sunday. Okay, and the last day of a century cannot be Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday. Okay, so we have 3 days each that the first and the last day of a century cannot be. Okay, what are the days that we have not covered in this? This is basically 6 days. Which day have we left out? It's Monday, right? So we have left on Monday. So the first and the last day of a century can be Monday, but all other days there are certain conditions. So if it's the last day, so if it's the first day, it cannot be Sunday, Wednesday and Friday. If it's the last day, it cannot be Tuesday, Thursday and Sunday. So you can just learn it like this. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So F, so if the F as in first, meaning first day cannot be a Sunday. So after this, just leave 2 spaces, F, and then leave 1 space, F. So just first leave 2 spaces, then leave 1 space. Okay, these are the days it cannot be the first day. And for the last day, you start from Tuesday onwards and you just leave 1 space. Last. Here also actually you're ideally only leaving 1 space, but we know that Monday is like the special day of the week. Monday does not, first and last day of a century can be a Monday. So if you leave Monday, then it's just 1. Okay, that's just a way to remember. I mean, you guys can find different ways to remember different things. I'm sure you'll have very interesting ways. This is just how I remember it. Okay, now moving on, we can do a question now. If 1st January 2006 was a Monday, then what day of the week lies on 1st January 2007? Okay, so here, like we said before, okay, I'll just see, do you remember? But do not, if you have notes available, do not look at your notes. Just try to recall from your memory. If this is the case, do you remember what the answer is? Do you remember what the formula was? I'll give you some time. Do not look at, if you have written notes, do not look at your notes. Just try to recall from your memory. Okay, so I'll just give you some time. Yes, so the formula was that basically if you have 2 ordinary years as in not leap years. So if you know this day for a year, for the next year it will be the next day. So here if it was a Monday, for the next year it will be a Tuesday. That was the not exactly formula, but that was the statement that we had learned. Where is it? Yeah. So I'll just change the color of the pen. In 2 consecutive ordinary years, a date in the next year will be 1 day ahead of the same date of the previous year. Okay, this is the I think we can call it formula itself. So yeah, this is the formula. So based on that, since this is a Monday, the 1st January 2007 will be a Tuesday. Okay, so we've gotten that. So yeah, that's all you have for clock and calendar. It's not much, just that you need to do a couple of questions. We will have an example class just purely for question solving, and then we'll also have an assignment. So yeah, we'll discuss it then, but yeah, as of now, this is all you have under clock and calendar. Basically, a couple of points that you need to note. Just know how many hours a day has, how many days a week has, and then these, which all months have 31 days, which all months have 30 days. Okay, now I have a very interesting question. I mean, this is not part of your syllabus or anything, but it's a very interesting question that people used to ask each other when I was young. So which day of the month has 28 days? You have, I don't know if you've already heard this question. I hope you haven't. Yeah, just think about it and let me, you can't let me know, but yeah, just think about it and say it out loud. Which day of the month has 28, sorry, which month of the year has 28 days? I'll write it down. Which month has 28 days? Okay, so I really want to know what you guys said, but since this is a recorded class, I won't. But yeah, so basically, the thing is, most people end up saying February, or if you're asked which month has 29 days, most people end up saying February. But the thing is, every month has 29 days, right? So if you look at January, January has 31 days, but January, does it have 29 days? Yes. Like for example, if I have 5 pens with me, okay, and if somebody wants 3 pens and they are asking, okay, who here has 3 pens, I will say I do, right? Because I have 5 pens, but in order to have 5 pens, I first need to have 3 pens, right? So similarly, in order for January to have 31 days, first, for it to have 31 days in the first place, it needs to have 28 days, right? So January has 28 days. Similarly, February has 28 days. March has 30 days. But to have 30 days, it has to have 28 days, right? So March also has 28 days. So basically, as per that, it's the answer is that every month of the year has 28 days. So yeah, that was a trick question that people used to ask. Anyway, so you need to know that, and then you also need to know what is a century, what is an ordinary year, a leap year. Moving on, this is important. This is something that is usually asked, this formula that you have. These are just things you can go through. The first and last days of an ordinary year will be same. First day of a century cannot be these 3 days. The last day of a century cannot be these 3 days. These 3 are not very important, but yeah, you can just go through it. And then we did an example, right? So that's all you have for this topic, and we are done.